All right, hopefully this finds everybody well. I'm going to talk a little bit about a certain aspect of Word that can really help you in your research paper. It's on the References tab, and what this will allow you to do is it will allow you to actually find potential sources that you can put in an empty paper, which sources that you may not necessarily use. Okay, and it will actually format them in the proper way, and at the end it'll create a works cited or bibliography page for you as well. Also, we're going to look really quick at Researcher here, just really quick in that it can actually find sources for you as well within Word itself. But first off, let's go ahead and look at where it says, you're going to go to where it says Manage Sources. Okay, and I already have a few in here, but this is called the Source Manager. And I'm going to copy some of these over here in just a little bit. But let's say let's say you're going for a brand new source. You found a brand new source. So you click where it says New here, and then it's going to give you different options. One of the options is actually we have book section, so forth and so on. Let's say it's a website. So if you click on a website, it's going to ask you, and it'll give you the short version and there's a long version. We're going to go ahead and look at the short version. Let's pretend we have an author. Let's say Tom Stone. Let's just make up a name, Stone. And notice it actually tells you the format down here. Here's an example of the format. So Tom Stone, name of the website, robotics are all around us. Okay, and let's say the year that it was actually created. On most web pages, you can actually find a year, and let's say it's 2016. Okay, you can often find a month, and sometimes you can find a day. So let's say it was in April. If you cannot find a day, then you'll put today's date, which is the 23rd. So you would put 23. You wouldn't put the 3rd. Here's the example down here. Year access 2020 March, and it's a full month. Remember that. Day access 23. Day access 23. And why would that be important? That would be important because websites have a tendency to change. And let's say you had a website and then it changed the next day. At least you'll say, hey, I found this on this specific date. And there is a website called Wayback Machine where if the website allows it, it'll actually show you the actual snapshot of that website during that specific time. Okay. Websites may not be the best for research papers because they change so much, but we're going to go ahead and run with this. So then, of course, if you have the medium, let's say it's a piece of audio. So we put that you're using embedded audio from the website. So this is one source, and you're creating a potential source here. So let's go ahead and click this. Notice it now has the way the bibliography entry will look. There's our current list. Let's do one more, and then we're going to add some of these over here on the right-hand side. Okay. So let's say we're going to have new, one more, and let's say in this time instead of a website, it's an actual book. Okay. And let's make up another name, Tom Smith. I'm just making up names here. Let's say the title was, let's say it's nanotechnology. Okay, we're just going to call it that. Let's say it was actually written in 2016. Let's say it was also in New York. And let's say the publisher was Bantam. And let's say the medium was, we got a Kindle version. Okay. So by the way, this is a short version. You do have the long version as well. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. Here it shows up. And by the way, that does not mean that you actually have to use it. It's a potential list. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and bring these other ones over from before. Okay, I'm bringing them over. Okay. All right, I don't think I have stacks. So I brought in, so I have potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'll click OK. So these are now saved. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend that I am just, let me go ahead and turn on, I'm going to go ahead and pretend that I'm actually writing a paper. And I'm going to type a bunch of gibberish, by the way. I just turned on the ruler so that I actually do my half an inch on the indent. So I'm going to pretend here like I'm doing some, creating, a paragraph or two. By the way, MLA format, I don't know if I put it in MLA format. Let's look at the references. It is MLA format. I did make a mistake here. I forgot to do the spacing. Okay. Line and paragraph spacing, of course, it should be 2.0. So let me continue here. By the way, when you want to get to the end, you hit enter. If you want to create a new paragraph, you hit enter or return. Doing another, just making some things up here. That's all I'm doing. Okay, one more, a few more, just so I can show you how you would actually insert these. And this is all gibberish. Okay, one more. Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to insert a citation here. All right. So now if I go back to the References tab, you see where it says Insert Citation? So if you click on that, notice you see all your citations now show up here. Okay? They all show up. So let's say it was from Hector Reese. There's Reese right there. Proper citation. Okay. Let's say this next one was from Tom Smith. There's a citation. Same thing, Werner Vinge. There's a citation. And remember, this is MLA format. One more. Let's say Tom Cruise. There's a citation. By the way, MLA format will change depending. The actual citation will change depending on whether there's the individual, same author has more than one source involved. So that's something to be sure you look at. So I have all my citations entered. Now, if you go back to where it says Manage Sources, it'll show you with a check mark what citations you've used. If you end up not using these other citations without a check mark, you just go ahead and delete those. Okay? So now we're only using citations, and this is important because we're going to create an actual works cited page here in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. By the way, one other thing, you can use something called Researcher, also on the References tab. And what this involved is you can actually search here and it will actually show you different articles. Let's say I chose this. If I click on this, it's going to want to hear it went ahead and put another citation there, which I'm going to delete. And if you go back and look on the Managed Sources, it went ahead and added it as well. Okay? So you can use that as well. So that's another little option that you can play with, but I'm more interested right now in showing you the Sources tab. So we have all these citations being used. Here's our master list, which you can always go back. Let's say you ended up using one of the other ones that we haven't touched. Let's say you ended up using this one after all. You can copy it over with no problem. There it is. Okay, and then you could cite it within your work. Okay, so we have our citations. And I'm going to show you right now, let's say, for example, that we actually want to create a bibliography. Let's say, let me go and do a page break here. Now, by the way, this is showing 2 pages. Let me go ahead and close this. So let's say that I want to do a bibliography or works cited. So once again, back on the references page, you see where it says bibliography? So I can choose one of these, and once you do this, it's really easy to do. Okay, watch what happens when I click on it. There are all my citations. Now guess what? All I have to do is kind of fix this. I do not know why Microsoft Word likes to use this blue color. I am not sure why that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the black here. I am going to center it, and I'm going to hit enter. Click out. There's your works cited page. Okay, by the way, you can update this if you in fact need to put some more citations. You can update it, but you probably want to wait towards the end. So this makes your life really easy. I really wish when I'd done my master's thesis that I'd had this capability. So that's it for right now. Um, more videos later. So hopefully you actually use this to your advantage.